All right, let's call the meeting. Mr. Sarna, you lead us in the pledge and the salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico as the symbol of the nation among the United cultures.
Thank you. Let the minutes reflect that all the board members are present except for Kelly Zamora and Faith Zamora. Approval of tonight's agenda.
I move to approve November 19th, 2024 agenda.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. Motion carries. Approval of the October 15th meeting minutes.
I move to approve October 15th, 2024 regular board agenda minutes. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. Motion carries. Item 2, public comment. We have none. Item 3, presentations will be postponed till December. So item 4, reports. We'll start with the student council.
Our student council had a family emergency, so she brought me her list. So student council, they've had about 550 total blue gram cells.
Wow.
Halloween Carnival had 10 booths. Girls volleyball, girls basketball, student council, juniors, PFK, Kinder, and CYS. FFA hosted a trunk or treat immediately following the carnival in the gym. On November 14th, pizza parties were awarded to all homecoming winners and quarter one winners. Provided 12 pizzas and drinks for the students and teachers, 4th, 5th, 8th, and 12th grades. Also on November 14th, Diabetes Day awareness, everyone wore blue. Student council made ribbons for everyone to wear. 67% of the student body participated in that. Upcoming events, Sanagram sales are fixing to start December 2nd through 12th. Blossom and Bowl is scheduled for December 19th. They're looking to host a K-5 dance, I think, during the school day like they did last year in January or February. In February, they'll do Valentine gram sales. They are thinking about a family movie night, a family dance night. March 3rd to the 6th will be Dr. 6 Weeks, dress-up days, and readathon. And then they have staff and administration appreciation coming up April, May, and then field day in May.
Wow.
So that's kind of their tentative schedule of events for the year.
Who sells these grams?
The student council.
The student council students? Okay. That would help to buy some.
Yeah, tell them to go to the courthouse
Yeah,
because
exactly. Okay. I might sell a few more. I'll definitely buy some.
I don't think they know about the courthouse.
I don't either.
That was our honeypot back in the day.
It was. Walk in there,
Money.
Get through.
sell all kinds of meat,
So the only
fruit.
offices that is bad is gonna be our office, the central office, and then the district and magistrate. Everything else they don't have to go
Be
through.
accessible. Right? All right, thank you. On to the PAC report. Shauna.
This last PAC meeting, we had a guest speaker, Ms. Schaefer, and she informed us on the gifted program, how it works, the identification process and all that, and all the testing that they do. And then we also discussed about the community getting together and doing some things to help, keep the kids occupied after school and stuff, and possibly doing a job fair this year and inviting people from the courthouse and, the law enforcement and everything to come over and do that during one of the schools for the seniors. So, maybe we can get a couple more EMTs or people in the courthouse.
Right.
But that's about it.
Just if you don't mind tagging on to that, the discussion we had with community involvement and career day also involved having people come in and not just a career day, maybe do a career day like that, but also have maybe through social studies, you come for a day and talk about what you do in your field. You know, you coming for a day and having the students here from different jobs throughout the day. And the discussion was, there was only about 7 of us there, 6, 7, maybe 8 of us there. But the discussion was very much the direction we'd like to see those meetings go and do. In fact, that's going to take up the biggest part of our next meeting in December is we'll go talk about some Title I stuff at the first, and then the rest of the meeting will be hopefully planning some of these activities and getting.
All right.
Trying to get.
And you're right about the community, trying to find some things for our kids to get involved in outside of school, because, you know, CYS goes up through the 6th grade. High school kids that got involved in sports after school. What are our middle school, high school kids doing when they go home at 4:15 or 4:30? So there was a good discussion around that.
And try to get one parent out of each class to come into the PAC meeting and let us know what's going on with the classes. So, you know, I feel like we don't know what really goes on at the school still, you know,
Right.
until the parents come and talk to us. It's like, oh, okay. And we learned a lot of new things.
Right.
I learned that day and announced to them, I'm not sure what it's going to be published yet, but we do have a middle school class that's working on a school newspaper
Oh,
to get
cool.
out to send things that will at least, so between what we get with the elementary teachers that we get once a quarter
Right.
and that, hopefully we get some things from the kids out where, because that was a conversation last year, is our high school parents, if they didn't have a kid in elementary, they didn't really know what's going on in elementary.
Right.
If they didn't have kids in middle school, they didn't really know, and it you know, it's and so getting that all out there and communicated, so our elementary kids know what to look forward to, and
Yeah.
hopefully our high school kids can get involved.
And they're going to start posting it on Facebook when the meeting is and what we discussed as well,
Okay.
to keep parents informed.
Good. Well, thank
Who's
you.
gonna take care of that? on Facebook?
It was going to be LeMay, because she used to do that.
Oh, okay.
And then, you know, after COVID, she said she stopped doing it, but she said that she would be more than willing to post it like she used to.
You're more than welcome to stay, or you more than welcome to leave, whichever. So, moving on to principal's report, Ms. Barilla.
So enrollment is at 151 total. It's still 4 pre-K kiddos. We have 73 kids at the kindergarten through 5th grade, 25 at the middle school, and 49 high school kids. So K-12 is 147. Saturday was the first junior high basketball game in Capitan. The girls won, the boys didn't do so well. Today, of course, they're playing over at the gym right now. The girls won the first game, and the boys were just starting when I left. Also, Miss Barella hosted the FAFSA night for seniors tonight, so not sure how many parents she had, but there was 3 families when I left to go to the game. Tomorrow, Miss Barella and Mrs. Howard will take 14 of our junior high kids on the quiz bowl, and they will be going to Tularosa. There's also an FFA meeting tomorrow night. The Thanksgiving dinner is on Thursday from 11 to 1. Tickets can be purchased at the office. Ms. Barella also sent out a link for people to kind of give a heads up of how many people are coming. Mr. Wilson is anticipating 150, kind of from the numbers from last year. 151. Okay. Are you making the one? Okay. Okay.
You ready?
Thursday also the junior high team travels to Magdalena for a basketball game, and then we are on Thanksgiving break starting Monday, November 25th through the 29th.
Okay.
Great.
You ready for a break?
Yes.
I bet. Any questions?
How many kids are on the basketball teams? Roughly?
6, 7, 8 girls and
Or junior high?
junior high, and boys have like 8 as well. Don't know the varsity yet. So
And-
officially they started practice last night. Was
The
their
9 weeks
first.
already came out, right?
Yes.
Yes, in 9 weeks, the 9 weeks can only make you eligible. It
Not
doesn't make you eligible.
But we could lose kids that semester.
You lose kids in 2 weeks.
Right.
Okay.
So we do have 3,
No.
4 weeks right before, or 3 weeks before the semester ends.
Right.
2 regular and then the finals week.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And if you don't mind anyone back.
And miss out on all this fun?
And if you don't mind, text the score.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Patterson, Superintendent's report.
Some of these things are discussion items or action items, so I won't cover them right now, we'll cover them when we get to them.
Okay.
One of the things you already agreed to a few minutes ago was with the construction, we've learned that our lighting never was really great, but now it's really bad. And so we're working on getting some lighting both here and in front of the office, because it is, when we leave here tonight, it'll be pretty dark. So we're working on getting that taken care of. Ms. Myers talked about PAC. Student insurance, I think I updated you on this, but we do have the student insurance. That information went out to parents. It's also on our website. And the way that works is if something happens at school or on a school trip, this insurance acts as a secondary insurance. And so it can help co-pays and things like that. And form they got to fill out, and they have to apply for it, but it is some extended coverage on things. And then, make sure I got everything covered that's on there. The exciting news that Mr. Enfield got out of that on Friday already, but I was kind of waiting to do on Wednesday. They released our VISTAS report, which is basically the new school report card. Our schools ranked, Carrizozo Elementary School ranked a spotlight school again. That's one of the higher ones you can get. They get away with the highest ones, so everybody can be spotlights. Used to be the second highest, now it kind of falls in the highest. The middle school and high school both fall in traditional, which is the next lowest. Anything below that, you start talking about interventions and things like that. Some of the things is with the high school, most of its score comes off graduation rate, and there's a school our size, one student not graduating can impact us for 6 years. It impacts us for a while. So if it gets to that, we try very, very hard to talk them out of it and give them the tools to try to stay. But it was exciting. Did not let the schools know yet, because I wanted y'all to hear it first, but I'll let the teachers know later this week, so that's exciting. Some of the percentage growth and scores like that are still to come, but overall, math still increased, not at the percentage we did last year, but it still showed growth. Language arts still showed very strong growth. And so we're kind of, the rest of them says data to follow or data to come. So, but that was exciting for our teachers and our students. So,
Reading?
That's to come.
reading language arts.
It's, okay.
We grew, but right now it kind of talks at district percentage. It doesn't talk by school. And so I kind of wait till we get all those percentages so we can see what each school grew or didn't grow, or because they could say we grew 54% and elementary and middle school grew a lot, high school didn't grow at all. So until we get all those, finish calculating all those numbers, which I think they'll come out in December is what I read. And so maybe by the next board meeting, we'll have all that data as well. But we were, as of Friday, we were able to share this information, so. And the rest we have later in the board meeting, so.
Since we brought up construction a little bit, I haven't personally heard about what's going on with the wall. I guess what is going on with that?
Okay, well, the construction was a discussion item in a few minutes, so we're gonna talk about all of it, but the wall is, from my understanding, going to be replaced. It won't be the brick wall there. So to repair it was gonna cost over $5,000, and that's even with us having the supplies to do it. So didn't repair it because still waiting to see when that part comes down. Are they gonna do that when they start on the football field and track? Is it gonna be at the end of construction? At the end of construction, they'll probably go ahead and go through and get it fixed and repaired so we have it before we start having games or anything else out there, as much as anything for safety reasons. So
Can we put some more stuff over there kind of to block it off?
Yeah, it keeps disappearing.
Oh, is that,
We
okay,
have, things disappearing, but yes, we can put some more, so.
no problem.
And
Seen
if
this
we,
stuff a little
I
bit.
mean, if it pleases the board, we'll go ahead and get it fixed. It's just, I hated to spend money.
Yeah,
that
why
was
spend,
gonna be
yeah,
torn
why
down
spend money?
in 2 months anyway, so.
Just didn't know what was going on with it.
When they start working on the track in the
That's what we'll do.
field, can they put up their temporary fence on the other side of the wall?
That's a conversation we haven't had
And
yet.
then
but
when-
we can have.
Then that would secure it. We wouldn't have to worry
Between
about
the
it.
wall and the trees, probably?
Yeah, right in that area. So
Can kind of continue the fence they already have.
Right.
So,
just an idea,
I will,
little more safety, but
Yeah.
without having to repair it and spend money that's gonna just tear it
So-
right back down.
So that wall's coming down then for the construction, right?
That's my understanding.
it's our understanding, because it would match everything else that's going to go.
And they have to put a new perimeter fence, a secure fence all the way around the school.
So on the other side too, it's coming down? Or
I
the brick?
Probably, I don't know about on the other side because it acts as a retaining
wall
wall.
to the,
So, with it being a retaining wall, part of the fence will come down, but the wall, the retaining wall itself,
probably,
if it's still good, solid, and sturdy, that's possible doesn't have to be there, so.
Okay.
But some of that fence, as hard as we tried to clean it from graffiti that happened a few years ago, it came down and it got hurt my feelings because it doesn't clean very well. So,
all right. Any questions for Mr. P? All right. Financial report. You ready?
Good evening, President and Superintendent, members of the board. So if you're looking at the financial report, we have one bar, and that's some carryover money from last year that we're just gonna kind of get that little bit of money in, and that was the only bar. Then you also have the check report and your detailed disbursement and your PO listing. One thing that is missing off of this one is the bank rec. We were waiting on some postings for the first bank card. We kind of got a little bit behind on posting those, so but they're all posted now. It just wasn't ready for the report,
Mm.
but everything on that was fine. And you see your graphs and the spending, and everything looks pretty normal. There's not really anything out of control, it didn't look like. So, do you have any questions?
No, I don't.
No, I think I'm right.
You think? All right.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Moving on to item 5, approval of the consent agenda items. So that would be to pay our bills and budget transfers, which we have the one.
I move that we pay our bills. Let's see. And the increase of our bars, increase or decrease of the bars.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Discussion item 6, the whole construction.
no, that's okay. Construction's never a revolving world. It's exciting, stressful, frustrating, all of love, but it's going good. One of the things that I just wrote down, so I want to remember, it was probably on the proven bars, is one of the things that PSFA and I both were surprised with is now when they send their pay app to PSFA and us, the percentage that we're having to pay. So the PO that we did for the roughly $600,000 that we're putting towards the project. Now, every time there's a pay app, whatever that percentage is of the overall project, we pay that percentage on the pay app. So like, what one of y'all will see come across in the very near, hopefully the next few days, hopefully before
Before you leave.
Thanksgiving break.
Yes,
It's
before you
it's only
leave.
2 more days before Thanksgiving
No,
break.
it will be before you leave.
There's a
Yep.
pay app that, PSFA is paying like the 600,000 of it. We're paying 17. But it goes towards the PO that we already have in place with PSFA of the money that we were obligated to when we went back through for the, I don't know what they call it. They call it, bid lots.
Bid
Which are
lots,
things that technically are above PSFA adequacy that were important us to have. And, as of right now, we're only looking at about just under $600,000 of that. And the bid lots, there's really about $1.4 million worth of bid lots that PSFA, as of right now, picked up, and we're responsible for the other. Doesn't mean there's not going to be some other hidden things that come up that we need to have money to take care of. Talk about the high school first. Demolition over at the high schools going well today. Did not realize they were wanting to say that. They were able to pull the grizzly out of the ground that was in the gazebo. They were able to save it. It's got one little chip area on the edge that they can fix, but no cracks, no nothing. And they were able to save it. So when we get ready to figure out where we want to put it, we can freshen up the paint and keep something from,
Good.
some of our history with
Right.
that. They're working on tomorrow, trying to save the sundial. That may be a little trickier. We got lucky, the bear had rebar in it, so it stayed very well,
Oh,
solid and strong. They're not sold that the sundial does.
I doubt.
Well, what they're trying to do right now over the next couple of weeks, they're trying to get the dirt down. We pay to haul dirt off so that they can haul dirt back in. But to be the foundation we need for that school, there's a certain mixture of soil that has to be there. And so that mixture is not in the ground we have now, because in 1940, they weren't really worried about that. And so they're hauling some dirt out. They will mix, and hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we'll start seeing them come back in with dirt to start doing the foundation, so that, hopefully in the near future, we start seeing construction go up instead of things go out. Any questions on that side?
Yeah, there was some issues with the concrete at the bottom of the basement.
So at the basement of the basement, that I had to argue a little bit because everybody in the room said, we didn't know there was a basement. Yes, we've argued about the basement since day one because of the flood that happened that kind of sparked us moving in this direction. But their concrete was, we have to go so far down in the ground to have the strength and the foundation that we need. That basement's further down than what the bid did. So there's been some conversation on the responsibility of can the piece of concrete down there stay there, or does it have to come out? Of course, my simple mind's like, it's been there since 1940. There's going to be 6 foot of dirt on it. Why does it matter? Well, it matters because of all that other stuff I just said about the compensation of the soil. So it had to come out. And then there's discussion on the backfill and making sure the numbers match up, because there will be a little bit more cost because it's 8 feet deeper than what was planned for. But making sure we're paying for the 8 feet, not the other 6 feet that was already in the bid. So that's been some of the discussions we've had on it. Seems to be pretty well worked out at this point. Both Decker and both PSFA, and that's real close to signing off to roll around on that, so that can continue to move forward. The good news is there's been plenty of other work. It hasn't really slowed anything down. There's been other things that tying in lines. We found some telephone lines that we want to make sure they weren't ours, but we want to make sure we didn't disconnect half the town when we did that. So we had to wait on the telephone company. Things like that you kind of run into as you go through it. So,
Okay.
but still moving well, and both Bradbury and Roper Construction are working hard in that area. So,
Okay.
Last week they started the deconstruction of the front half of what used to be called the the Child Care Center, which we're now calling CTE building, for career technical education. They started the demolition of the first half. The original goal was they'd take about a week to 10 days. We're getting close to that week to 10 days. I should give an update tomorrow where we're at on that, but they're pretty close to having the demo done to that so they can start with the design and going back in. That remodel will involve a roof for the building. It involves HVACs and heaters because our HVACs on the other half of the building are out of date. If we weren't fixing the front half, the back ones are out of date, but the fact we're fixing the front half, we had to do that. But as like with the high school, anytime we do a remodel, the amps that the new stuff's going to draw versus the amps that were there. So there's going to be electrical work that gets done and some things like that. Sidebar note on that, the good news is we've had a hard time finding electricians to bid on hooking up the greenhouse to finish off the greenhouse. The electricians that are on this job site are going to shoot a bid, and we've got grant money that's coming in to pay for the electricity and all that. So sidebar note, we're going to be able to get the
Greenhouse hooked up.
greenhouse finished hooked up while we're doing this construction on that.
So is the wall in the
So they
CTE?
put a temporary wooden wall that blocks the kids' access. Our kids now walk kind of along the alley to the side door where the greenhouse is. We finally got moisture for the first time in forever and realized that they needed to come to a gravel walkway. Luckily, we had leftover gravel from the greenhouse, so they just spread it out and give us a walkway. We've got walkable, very nice trailer porta potties there that are being maintained by the construction company. As I said in my email, kids can come back to the main building to use the restroom if they prefer, because some won't do that. Ironically, those bathrooms are actually pretty nice when you do that. And so that's where we are on that construction. We did have a little excitement last Thursday because they thought they had disconnected and rehooked up the fire alarms the way they were supposed to. And as we're trying to leave for the day, all the fire alarms are going off. We had a weird smell at the gym, and it got very interesting from about 4 to 5. And they had clipped a wire that they thought had been disconnected and rerouted. I think they do have that fixed. They got it fixed over the weekend. So, but what they did is they wanted to and had to ensure for the fire marshal that all fire systems where our kids were active and worked properly with our system, regardless of what they were doing on the front half. And so I have been guaranteed that all of that is in compliance with what we need to do. That's the reason there was still hot water. Discussions have started on the football field and track. Part of the reason it hasn't moved forward yet is they have a company they use. They're trying to renegotiate their stuff. And so hopefully at our next in-person meeting, which will be after Thanksgiving, we'll get some more realistic timelines on when they're going to start on that. I will be surprised if we start on it before January, just because the pace we're moving at right now, there's still a lot of discussion on what kind of turf, what's the field going to look like, those types of things that have to happen once the turf company is brought in. Talking to a turf company today, once that's done, the turf can be laid in 7 days. So the process of getting the field ready for the turf takes a little while, and the resurfacing of the track won't, from what they're saying, doesn't take very long. So once they get started, doesn't sound like it's an extremely long process. It's the organizing and planning.
So if they were to start in January, would they have it done before track?
Realistically, probably not. I've thrown that out there because
Okay.
track starts so late now for our size of school. It doesn't start till
In the middle,
late February, early March. I mean, it starts late, and so there is a possibility that the fields they're working on the field and the track's not an issue, and we can practice on the track anyway. And just not have the workers' day ends when we start track practice. There's a lot of those discussions that happen. Capitan has allowed us to bring our kids over there when we bus them over there. We do have a plan for that because with so many athletics during athletics, we'll run them over there for practice. come back to our bus route, and then go back to the one after the bus route.
Hmm.
So, we do have a plan, for that if we need to find an alternative place for it.
Okay.
So I think that,
So with this new track and field, are the lights included? Football lights?
BSFA does not participate in, and I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
It's only, no, it's all, we've been talking about it, but since.
Because
we
one
kind
side of the lights is out.
So,
We need to get that fixed before next football at least.
and that'll be a cost that we incur. BSFA does, the only reason why we're getting the field and track is because we're not getting any football field per
Right.
se, we're getting a PE field.
A physical
that has
education
football
field.
lights on it. And so that is something that if we replace them completely, which I don't know if they need to be that, but they need to be fixed and figure out what's going on.
At least one of them. I mean, that side of the field is pretty dark during football games.
So, because if they have to do anything underground, it needs to be done on the field.
Right.
And that's why we need to get on that, so. And we were pushing pretty hard on that the last couple of weeks, I need to follow up on that, so.
Yeah, we need those lights fixed for the field. My other question was, since we were preserving, like you said, the bear and everything, whatever happened to the bell? I don't know if anybody knows, but the bell that was at the corner. Whatever happened to that?
Bell's still there.
Is it?
The bell tower and the bell tower will stay put.
Oh, okay.
It's right here in the corner.
It's okay.
No, the bell tower will stay
I
put.
was gonna say that.
The grizzly, which I'm still hoping to find somebody to repair the big grizzly that we have out of that farm that's got a broken toe. Hopefully we can fix it and reuse it. But the grizzly will, the statue grizzly will be moved into the courtyard of the school, as part of the design. I think you can kind of see it when you look at the design over there.
Was that the old bell that was at the corner though? It was?
I think
It
it
was?
is.
Okay.
It's the only bell I know of. There's
Yeah.
another bell.
No, it used to be lower and by the.
Yeah, it used to be
By the
lower. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Somebody was asking me about that and I
Librarian.
just,
the bell,
I
the
thought that
bell
was
tower
a
will
different one.
stay.
Yeah.
The conversation with the grizzly is when we found out we had the grizzly and that it broke because people were probably climbing on it, and the discussions, well, why don't we put it where it's more secure after hours? So, and I'm not told that's not broke, I'm just going up.
Yes.
That happened for us.
Just have to repair its toe.
Anything else on construction?
Anything else restricted? Moving
Oh,
right
well,
along.
are they still talking about maybe shutting that road down or that's no more?
That's the conversation that you guys need to guide me, because I'll have to go back and get on City Hall agenda with the new mayor and the new City Hall and have those discussions. My preference would be yes, because then we can fence in the whole school and we don't have to worry about that. One of the concerns that's happening since she's
Now's
in
the time to
audit,
do it.
so she's not the one who said it. Let me clarify that. But one of the concerns was EMTs being able to get to that part of town. And my understanding is if the road's closed, once there's a new route, they'll just have a new route. It doesn't really affect your time
No.
one way or the other if you know it's closed. It's when you put gates there and sometimes it's closed and sometimes it's not, that can create a heartache or a headache for EMS and fire. I'm kind of looking to make sure I'm not
No,
doing
that's,
so.
So I know you're probably not the only voice in the MT, but I mean, is that fine? I mean, are you guys opposed to that?
I'm not,
No?
because, you know, it's, no matter what, you're gonna get there.
Okay.
And the safety of the kids, in my opinion, is more important because, you know, sitting here at the clinic during the day and at night, the way these people drive around here, and
Right.
it's not people from town either. I mean, they need to have an officer sit down here and watch that. That's just crazy.
The shortcut from 380 to 54 is
Yeah.
a
Oh,
freeway.
Through there. And we've told Chief Hill about it. It's like, you need to have an officer sitting here. One of these days
At least
now,
some good
if
speed
things
bumps.
there, somebody's gonna have an accident there.
And a sidebar on that was not really this, but since you mentioned that, Chief Hill and I had some discussion about expanding how far out our school zones are also to try, just for that reason.
Speed
So,
bumps.
putting some few lights and some different things. So there's a lot of discussions on that aspect that need to still happen. Kind of we got it for I'll probably push so we can make that
I think with
conversation
the,
piece
with
to
the
this one,
current
we-
town administration, we should go back and ask.
One hurt.
Discussion item for December.
Yeah, when we have other board members here, yeah.
Put it on
That'd
there
be
as-
a good idea. Chris?
I mean, you could cut it off right here
That
at
rotary
E and
there.
then just this side of Freddie's. Can Freddie access his house from B Avenue?
Well, I don't think he has a driveway in,
Right.
but were you gonna shut it right down at the stop sign?
Kind of what I originally
Well,
had
Or at
thought,
the-
Probably
at
this
alley.
side of, yeah.
kind of
the
what I
alley.
had thought was going from D right here on the corner to the alley right behind where the bus fence is,
Right.
because that would allow everybody who has houses to have multiple access points still to their house.
Right.
It would allow us to fence off the part we need
Need
to
to fence off.
secure our school, so.
Discuss it in December.
And it's still construction, so it's still a discussion.
Yeah.
Discussion about that, so.
All right. Anything else on construction? Moving on, action items, consideration approval to remove the e-waste items from inventory for disposal. We should have done that 2 months ago because they had the e-waste recycle last month.
So it wasn't until we realized how little storage we have that we found a bunch of the old, most of them were the old Mondo boards that are out of date that have been replaced with new ones that were not in a centralized location. There was a couple here, a couple there, a couple somewhere else. And we need to get them off. The computers out of them have been taken out of, so anything that would be data related is gone from the system. And they're really out of date. Basically, they're big screens. All you plug your computer into it and watch the screen, but that's about even that. So,
How would we dispose of them?
techs usually have a way to have somebody come.
So the Region 9 would,
Yes.
okay.
So that's what we ended up doing last year, because I think last year we couldn't get coordinated to this from Region 9, and when
Right, the town.
waste people were coming,
Right.
so it,
Okay.
but, that would make life a little less cluttered here of things that are just taking up space and not usable anyway, and that can be recycled.
Where are they at?
Let's see, there's some in the teacher's lounge, there's, some up there, we're out of space. They almost were in here, so it just, we're running out of room because, the good news from the construction standpoint is there were a lot of things that we were able to salvage out of our job center that we're able to repurpose. So we're just been in the process of replacing some faucets and some sinks and some things around the school from stuff that's been out there basically
Right.
brand new. not
Brand
used.
new, right?
So,
What's in the ag shop out there at the tape farm? Everything good?
not everything, but there's some stuff out
Quite a-
there. And there's a goal between FFA and us to have some cleanup days, especially between now and when our ag day is here.
February.
So, in February. So,
Is there any plan to use the B-Lab anymore?
our CT really know how to say.
The
so
new
that's
one.
brand new.
Yeah, they'll move it all over here.
Okay.
So they don't have to travel back and forth, waste half the class time getting there and coming back.
Thinking 2
It's
trips.
gonna be much
Right.
more functional, much
It
more
will be,
state-of-the-art.
it'll be nice once it's done here.
That's good to know. So what are
The
we
short
gonna do?
answer is yes.
Yep.
So, action item.
Yes, so I need a motion.
I move to approve removal of e-waste items for inventory for disposal.
Second.
We'll move in second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. Motion carries. Consideration and approval of a cooperation agreement with Capitan Schools for both softball and baseball, but we'll take action on them separately, so.
And just, that we all take action on them. The reason why we're doing both, we haven't had anybody show interest in softball. When Superintendent, Lee and I visited about it. We thought just in case somebody did, it would be smart to have approvals for
In
both.
place.
Hopefully, in a couple of years, we have our own, but as of right now, this allows our kids that want to, which we don't have but a handful, but to participate, so.
Do the kids know about this? Like, they can play softball or
They're
baseball?
actually who came to me,
Okay.
so This time they came to me because that's kind of how it's always been, is the boys have come to us and girls, the girls that usually would be interested in here are pretty solid in track, and so they've been focused on track. But just in case, since we're doing another 2-year, we thought we would have both go, and Captain board approved it last night, so.
Well, we might need to discuss in the future about football as well. That might be on the plate one of these days, huh?
It could be. It could be.
6 players.
Yes.
What did that do?
Ouch. Oh,
I move to
ouch.
approve
There you go.
the softball with Captain Schools.
A second.
You moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Item C.
Are we gonna do the baseball or?
Yeah.
Never mind.
Talking smack and you
Yep.
lost track.
Yes, he lost track. I move to approve the co-ed baseball with Captain Schools.
A second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, the final reading of the drug testing policy. This is the 3rd month. Were there any other additional questions anybody had on that?
Just the percentage. I mean, what was the percentage going to be finally? Because numbers, I guess, on that.
So, so you really can't, you want to be careful how high a percentage you go, because then you take the random out of it and you have to stay random. Couple ways to look at this, just so y'all know cost, because you had asked that, so I brought that. So if we ballpark that we had 50 students involved, 6 through 12, that's counting FFA every day. If we had 50, if we had 50 involved, 50% would be 25 athletes. That would be about $1,250 per quarter if you did it every 9 weeks. I have a different recommendation, we'll get to that in a minute, but if you did it, that's just so you get some numbers. If you tested 25%, that would be 13 athletes, that would be about $650 per quarter. So it's every 9 weeks. Most schools do 10 to 15%. For us, if you did 15%, that's 7.5 students, so really you need to do 8 students, so that would be $400 per quarter. What some schools are doing, instead of doing quarterly, they are doing their 10% bi-monthly. So in theory, they're doing 20% a quarter, because you're every 2 months you're testing kids. Now that's not an overly accurate number, because a kid might get selected 2 times in a row. In a school our size, there's likelihood it would happen. I mean, because it is random. There's the other things some schools are doing that are ensuring. So like in the fall, you have football, volleyball. 2 testings happen during football and volleyball. And then your winter sports, 2 testings happen during, for us, would be basketball. And then 2 testings would happen during track or baseball. The last 2 districts I was at that had this, they did it on average bi-monthly. They did 10%. But my recommendation is to do the 25%, which means per test you're testing about 13 students, and then let's do it something like bi-monthly. So realistically, you're getting 1 more athlete per quarter than you were otherwise, and so you're still spending about the same money, $12.50 to it's $50 per test, is what it is. And then if the test has to get sent off, I may be wrong with $50, because it was 12.
It's 30 years.
It's 30, yeah. But if it gets sent off,
It doubled, didn't it?
yeah, no. So it is. The rapid test is $50 per test. If it has to be sent off to be verified, so if it turned out to be, it needed to be sent off to be, a non-negative. That's the word they use. So I have to explain that to me, because I'm not sure what negative. But it would be another $35 for that test.
Right.
So.
Okay.
Have you spoken to the coaches, or maybe the teacher, I guess, you know, that deals with FFA, what they would like to do? I mean, is that something we can bring up to them, or?
We can, and so,
Because this did come from the coaches, right?
all coaches have been involved, and we've had a high percentage of parents involved. We had the parent meeting we had probably one of our best turnouts of parent meetings there. And with the exception of
There were
a
several.
handful of parents, a couple, 2 or 3, most people were like, start today. I mean, and so, and, you know, on a positive note, it's been reported to me. I haven't actually heard, it's been reported to me that it's been heard that, students are vaping less and doing less because they know this is coming. So, which is what our goal was, to try to get those types of things to slow down. You know, I think we've got some coaches and some people that would like to test 100% of the people in our schools, staff and students, 100% of the time. Can't do that. I know, can't
It's
do
not
that,
randomly.
you know,
It's not random.
and so, what you can do is extracurricular athletics activities. You can do random testing. The numbers have got to stay low enough to do random. And that's why my suggestion was the 25, the 25% by month. I mean, that's, and I've talked to a couple other superintendents, talked to coaches about this early on. I know coaches have been talking to the students about it. And you know, the key, one of the reasons why getting this put into place sooner as possible is hopefully if there's anybody that will use this to stop, they have time to be clean by the time the first testing's due this spring. So,
I mean, I know ultimately it is our decision. I would like to, coaches and the other teachers, maybe the next meeting, say what they would like. Can we have that? Is that possible or no?
They've already put input in, no?
they've all put in it. The
Yeah.
coaches have been involved from the start.
Not publicly though, am I right?
Well, they were.
They were all at, they were all at
Yeah,
that
they
parent
were-
meeting,
They were. We get that parent meeting?
yeah.
I thought that's what I was thinking, so, but all
Yeah,
the
they were
coaches
there.
The
I was
youth
there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we should ask them what they would like as well, since it is their kids.
I mean, I can collect some, if y'all wanna give me the data you want me to collect, between now and the next meeting, I can collect it. I don't know that they'll be here, because they may have ball games that night, but I can collect data so you have it, to make the motion. I mean,
What do you guys think?
Pardon?
What do you guys think?
I'm all in favor.
Yeah, I would ask them what they would like, since it is their athletics and their kids that are participating.
What they would like, what, percentage wise?
Percentage wise, or, you know, how they like to proceed with this as well. Or no, that's not something.
I don't know, from what I understand, they were, I'm trying to think, Chris wasn't, was he? The football coach, was he at that
You
meeting?
may,
I can't remember if he was, but the rest of them were there. Christy was there,
They,
LeMay was there,
Donna Hugh?
Donahoe. So,
and I know he's been talking to students about it, coming.
And then, Mr. Howard as well, right?
I don't remember, yeah, I think he was there. Yeah, they had the FFM meeting right after that, matter of fact.
Yes, they kicked us out for.
Right, they- Made us hurry up and get out so they could have their FFA meeting in there, but, so,
I mean, I don't see what the hurt in asking them what they would like as well. 50% or 25 or whatever the board would like to do. I mean, is that something we can
13
ask them?
kids, a test every other month, basically, right?
I call it averaging out bi-monthly.
Right.
So,
And is that in the policy? Or is that just an understanding? So we could approve the policy and you can ask the coaches if that worked for them, is what I was thinking. Is it not
that's
written?
why I'm scanning it right now.
I don't remember it seeing it in there, the percentage that we were gonna test.
Right.
But I would still like to take the action on the actual
Yeah.
policy tonight
Yeah.
and then have him work out with the coaches, make sure that everybody's on the same page in
That would
regard
be
to
great.
percentage wise, if that works.
I would work with that.
Motion?
Move to approve drug testing policy for athletes and activities J-445, JJIE, J-4461, and the rest. JJIE -4.
Right.
A second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. So the policies in place, just work out with the coaches and or actually the extracurricular activity leaders to come up with a percentage. Okay? So next item is an executive session. We need to go into executive session, so that requires a motion.
Executive session.
Second.
Then move and second to go into executive session, roll call vote. Mr. Barilla.
Okay. Aye.
Mr. Cerna.
Aye.
And I vote in the affirmative as well. So executive session at 6:51. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Have a safe trip back down the hill.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
think
It's not
it's-
a bad drive. I'm getting used to it.
Where's